Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Xavier Smith, and today I'm going to go over the 3 domains and 6 kingdoms of life. So let's get started with the 3 domains. First, we have bacteria, which are prokaryotes, whose cell walls contain peptidoglycan. Then archaea, they're thought to be more ancient. They do not have peptidoglycan in their cell walls, and they survive in extreme environments, so they are called extremophiles by many scientists. Then we have eukarya, which are eukaryotes that have a membrane-bound nucleus and other membrane-bound organelles. So eukarya is just eukaryotes. Prokaryotes, they don't have membrane-bound organelles or a nucleus. But the main difference between archaea and bacteria is that bacteria have peptidoglycan and archaea do not have peptidoglycan. Now, our kingdoms, we have bacteria, again, prokaryotes that have peptidoglycan in their cell walls. Archaea, they're more ancient. They do not have peptidoglycan in their cell walls, and they live in extreme environments like the vents at the bottom of the ocean that are very hot water, or in the hot springs of Yellowstone. They live in very extreme places. Now, Protista, all of these kingdoms, so bacteria is in the domain bacteria. Archaea is in the domain archaea. Now, Protista, fungi, plantae, and animalia are all in eukarya. So eukarya has 4 kingdoms, while bacteria and archaea only have 1. Protista, they are unicellular, or multicellular, or colonial, and they can be plant-like, animal-like, or fungus-like. So they're like all the other. They can be like all the other kingdoms, but they're not all the other kingdoms. They're weird. Then there's fungi, which they're unicellular or multicellular. They do not move, and they absorb nutrients from the environment. Their cell walls contain chitin. That is the main thing. If your cell wall contains chitin, you are a fungus. So a fungus would be like a mushroom. A mushroom doesn't move. It absorbs nutrients from its environment. It could also be like mold. They're made of all these little like stringy, strandy things, but that's for another lesson. They get their nutrients from the environment, and they have chitin in their cell walls. Plantae, they're multicellular. Their cell walls contain cellulose. They have chloroplasts. Most of them have chloroplasts. They have tissues and organs such as roots, stems, and leaves. Then Animalia, no cell wall. So if you see no cell wall, that's an animal. Then we are multicellular, heterotrophic, meaning we get our food from other organisms. And we have tissues, organs, and organ systems. Now, all of that recapped right here. So, we have a little chart. We have domain kingdom, then cell type, cell walls, number of cells, and nutrition. Because if you see here, organisms are classified into kingdoms based on their cell type, their structures, their cell walls and their number of cells, and nutrition. So how do they eat? Do they make their own food, or do they eat other organisms for it or absorb from the environment? So let's start with domain. We have bacteria, archaea, and eukarya, our 3 domains. Then down to kingdoms. Bacteria, the domain bacteria only has the kingdom bacteria in it. Archaea only has the kingdom archaea in it. Then the domain eukarya has the kingdoms protista, fungi, plantae, and animalia. Then we go down to cell type. Both bacteria and archaea are prokaryotes, so they do not have membrane-bound organelles or a nucleus. Then eukarya, they are all eukaryotes, so they all have membrane-bound organelles and and a membrane-bound nucleus. Then if we look at cell walls, bacteria have peptidoglycan. Archaea do not have peptidoglycan. Then eukarya, the protista have cellulose in some. Fungi have chitin. Plantae, they have cellulose in all their cell walls, and Animalia, no cell wall. Number of cells, bacteria and archaea are unicellular. Then protista are unicellular and multicellular. Fungi are mostly multicellular. Plantae, plants and animals are all multicellular. Then nutrition. Bacteria and archaea, they can make their own food or they can eat other organisms for food. They're autotrophs or heterotrophs. Then protists are also autotrophs or heterotrophs. Fungi are heterotrophs. They get they absorb nutrients from their environment, so they're not making their own food, they're absorbing their food. They actually secrete like a digestive enzyme into things around it, and then they absorb the digested nutrients. Pretty cool. Then plantae, they're all autotrophs. Well, mostly autotrophs. Yeah, they make their own food. Then Animalia, they are heterotrophs. We eat food. Humans were in Animalia. We do not make our own food. We eat other animals and organisms. So, last slide. Viruses. They're the exception. So, what are viruses? Well, they're really just nucleic acid surrounded by a protein coat. That doesn't sound like it's living, does it? There are characteristics to life. That's not one of them. Maintain homeostasis? Don't think so. Reproduce? Maybe? Don't know. So, viruses are not cells, and they do not contain or possess cells. They never are cells. So, therefore, they are not living. They are not made of cells. They do not maintain homeostasis. So, they're not living. And therefore, they are not biologically classified on that list we just did. They will not be biologically classified, but it's up to you to decide if they should be. Well, thank you very much for watching. I hope this was a good overview of the 3 domains and 6 kingdoms. Thank you for watching. Please leave any questions in the comments.